First of all, believe in yourself, because people will try to put you down. So if you believe in yourself, you're not going to take it. The other thing is have faith in God, have faith in yourself. And if you're going to get in a relationship with someone that has your back no matter what.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be the journey.
The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is
The Journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is The Journey.
The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The Journey. The Journey. The Journey. The Journey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have a Memphis icon that I'm sure you're going to love. But first, we're going to get to our quote of the day. And it's from the great Irish poet and playwright, Oscar Wilde. And I love this one. Every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. What that means to me is you're looking at the finished products at this point. But if you go back in our history, you're going to find some things that maybe aren't so savory. Well, listen, today, our Memphis icon is Chicago-born, a little bit bred, Arkansas and Memphis bred for sure, former military cook, producer, art collector, entrepreneur, brother, husband, father. Man, I call him a Renaissance man because a brother does even more than that. Today we have Fabian Matthews, CEO of Spotlight Production. What's up, Spotlight Productions?
What's up, KUDZUKIAN?
Spotlight Productions. Man, it's been a long time, man.
Yeah, it has, Larry. It really has, man.
For you guys that don't know, this is one of my longtime friends, one of my longest friends in Memphis. So we're going to get into it today, because I know where all the bodies are buried, the bones and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so
you know a little too much, Larry. You know a little too much, man.
So, man, tell me, man. So let's get it started. So we're going to go through the quick round.
All right.
And just quickly, tell us about the beginning. Where were you raised? What was your earliest memories of life, and what was that household like?
Man, I was born in Chicago, like you said earlier.
Right.
And, man, it was just me and my mom, but we have a big extended family that lives in Chicago.
Okay.
And so I, stayed a lot with my aunts, my grandmothers and stuff. But me and my mom took us from Chicago to Arkansas, back to Chicago, back to Arkansas. It was one of those things.
Okay.
But, she worked at the railroad. And
wait a minute, where did the Arkansas piece come from?
My mom, all my family is from Arkansas.
Oh, so they were part of the migration.
They were part of the migration and went and work at the steel mills.
Okay.
In Chicago. And so we moved back and forth a couple of times, and then we finally settled in Arkansas.
Okay.
And,
what part of Arkansas?
Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Okay.
But she's from this little town called Star City, Arkansas.
Okay.
And so we had a ball, me and my mom. It was just me and her.
Really?
My mom was like a gypsy. She'll wake up one morning and decide she wanted, she was an artist also. I want to do something else. And we'll take off. It was like that.
So that's where the creativity comes from.
That's where the creativity comes from, man.
Okay.
And, and I never really, growing up, I never really had a good relationship with my father. So, it was just me and my mom and my grandfather. My great-grandfather taught me so much.
Okay.
Larry.
Give me one. Give me one thing that just comes to mind immediately.
He taught me how to deal with money. And he was a bootlegger.
Okay.
And so when he would go get his stash, I'd have to go sell his product and all that. So it was a very entrepreneurial type thing.
I think we're past the statutes of limitations.
We way past that. You come for me over that stuff. I don't know what to say to that.
So outside of your mom and your grandfather, great-grandfather,
right?
Who had the biggest impact on young Fabian?
Ooh, outside of that, young Fabian, not. I think my grandmother and my aunt.
Why them two?
Well, my grandmother worked her butt off. She worked at the Drake Hotel in Chicago.
Okay.
And she was a statuesque woman. She smoked cigarettes all the time. She was just a great person. I mean, she was an incredible person.
Okay.
And then my aunt Sue, she was a very loving woman.
Okay.
She really was. She's a very loving one. Every time I go to Chicago, that's normally who I stayed with. It's my Aunt Sue. And, you know, they had a big family, you know, my cousins and cousins and her husband. You know, we had a good time.
Okay.
You know, it was one of those things that, you know, when you're poor, you don't realize how poor you really are because everybody around you is in the same circle.
Right.
But we wasn't poor. We just lived life.
Okay.
You know,
We're gonna get in that, but we got a little bit more in the rapid fire round. Okay, so decisions. We make decisions as kids
right.
that we look back on, and sometimes they were good, sometimes they were bad. Tell me a decision you made as a kid that had a lifelong impact on you, even though you didn't realize it at the time.
When I was in the 7th grade, I wasn't making good grades.
Okay.
And I remember somebody called me dumb.
Oh, wow.
And rightfully so. I was looking at my grades and I was like, shit, I'm kind of...
the evidence is clear.
Yeah, click, yeah. And so that next day, I decided just to study.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it changed
Like
my
a light
whole,
switch.
It changed my whole perspective on school and life, honestly. That's pretty much
cool.
what it was.
That's
Is
cool.
that guy calling me stupid. And I really took offense to it. But he was warned and called me.
Now you're a pretty big guy.
Yes.
At least 6'4", 6'5".
6'4".
Most of us dreamed of being basketball players, football players, so on and so forth. What dreams, how different are you from the dreams of your childhood?
I wanted to be a baseball player. That was
Really?
my sport.
Really?
Baseball was my sport. I had a cannon arm,
Okay.
but I couldn't hit that well. I could feel the ball. I could do everything you possibly do on a baseball field.
Uh-huh.
I just couldn't hit that well. You know why I couldn't hit that well? Because I needed glasses.
Oh, wow.
I needed glasses.
Really? So when did you know was it like, you know what, I can't see. I need to get glasses.
I when we moved to Memphis, I started playing for Memphis Central.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, man, I went to my mom, I said, I need glasses.
Okay.
And so we went and got glasses. I'm like, oh, wow. The world.
It came out in focus.
Yeah. I'm like, wow. Oh, man.
When did you know you was gonna be okay? You know when you had this thing called life.
When I got to Central and we left my senior year and moved back to Arkansas.
Okay.
And when I graduated from high school and went my first year in college, I didn't do that well.
Okay.
So I went to the Army. I came out of the Army and my whole perspective of life, Army Reserve, my whole perspective of life really changed then.
Really?
And that was at about 20 years old. And I made some changes in my life. I switched majors from business management to radio TV.
Okay.
And I took that one class and I was like, wow, I think I found out what I want to do. Because at first...
Well, hold on. We're going to get to it.
Yeah,
We're going to get to it.
I'm jumping a little bit.
We're going to let you unpack it. So, what's your why? Why you get up and fight the good fight?
At first, it was to prove something, not just to myself, to people, to other people.
Okay.
You know, like I said, my dad wasn't in my life that much. But the cool thing is, I used his lack of focus on me as my focus to change me and to better me and to say, hey, I did this.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't do it all by myself, but I did it.
Now, you was in Arkansas, too.
Yes.
As a black boy with a black mama in Arkansas. Tell me the time, because I know Arkansas can be tough. Tell me the time you realized that you was a brother, that you was a black man.
Well, when I moved back...
Hold on for a second. Listen, we're going to come right back on the journey. And Brother Fabian is going to bear his heart a little bit, too. Listen, stay right there. We'll be right back on the journey. welcome back to The Journey. Today, we have Fabian Matthews, CEO. Get that, CEO, president, founder, Spotlight Productions.
Yes.
We were talking about being a black man in Arkansas. But hold on, before we go there, I got some words I want you to tell me what thoughts, what feelings they elicit to you. 3 F's. Family. What does family mean to Fabian?
Family is why you get up and do what you do.
Okay.
Family is why you put up with certain things that you normally would not put up with,
Okay.
because you don't want to let family down.
Okay.
You know, because you hear so many stories about black men not being there for their families, and you don't want to be that black man that's not there for their families.
Okay. What about this one? Faith.
Faith is something that we all have, even if we don't recognize it,
Okay.
because things just don't happen. You know, you have to have faith in yourself.
When is the time that you've had where you know you've had to use your faith and it's been successful for you?
Opening a business.
Okay.
I mean, that's the number one thing. I mean, when you decide that you don't want to let somebody else control your future, you step out on faith.
All right.
And you make those decisions not to do this, not to do that. You make those decisions to say, you know what? I gonna roll the dice and take a chance. And then at some point in time, you're gonna say, God got me.
Right.
If you don't say it,
Right.
somebody in your life is gonna say it.
Right.
You don't have to worry about it. God got you.
Right. Last one. And I know, one, you're a stepdad. And number 2, you have a daughter.
Yes.
What does fatherhood mean to you?
Wow. Fatherhood is, fatherhood changed my business.
Okay.
It changed the way I looked at life,
Okay.
because you're responsible and you want that family to be, your kids to be proud of you.
Right.
And so you work harder, you dream bigger,
Right.
and you really start looking at the people that's in your life and seeing how they fit
Right.
in your life,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Okay. Let's go back.
All right.
We're back in Arkansas.
We're back in Arkansas.
Tell me the time you realized you was a black man.
Well, when I moved back to Arkansas from leaving Memphis, it was a culture shock.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing, it wasn't a culture shock for a lot of my cousins that lived down in Arkansas, because they had grew up with all these different types of people. They were, when I say different type of people, with white people.
Right.
And I had to deal, because, being at Central, maybe, I think it was 3 or 4 of us that were black on the team. So I dealt with white people on a consistent basis and everything. But going back to Arkansas, and if you didn't grow up with a lot of people, it's not the same. It wasn't the same for me, because I was an outsider. Now my cousins and them, they knew everybody, and everybody got along and everything, but I had a hard time adjusting a little bit because it's like when you don't know these people.
Right.
They don't know you.
So what was that time? When was that?
That was my senior year in high school.
Really?
Yeah, my senior year in high school. And then to go to college and hear somebody actually call you the N-word.
Right.
And,
Wow.
And that was a culture shock.
How did you respond?
Well, it was funny. I was in the car, and it was about 12 o'clock at night, and 4 rednecks rolled up to me at the stoplight. And he looked over. He had a big ass hat on and everything. He looked over. What's up? N-word. I'm like, wow. Just
Really?
like that. And then you do one of those, and you do that Dave Chappelle, when keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah.
Took off.
All right, man. Let's go back. Childhood.
Great time.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about a not so good time Tell me about a time when Fabian might have got that tail warmed up.
I mean, that's a lot, man. You know, I mean,
You said that's a lot.
Hey, well, that was back in the time where your mama or your grandfather, your aunt, they tell you go out and pick your own switch.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, I never focused on the bad times that I had because
Okay.
me and my mom, when we moved to Memphis, we struggled a little bit because she was going to the Memphis College of Arts,
Right.
you know, and everything. And, you know, it was rough. It was rough. But she did the best she could.
Right.
And so I try not to focus on the bad times about my childhood. I had an incredible childhood.
Okay.
The ups and downs and all that. I remember my mom, we lived on we lived on South Lakeshore Drive on the 17th floor. I never forget it. She called up, she said, come down and help me with these bags. And I came down and she had a whole bunch of Christmas presents around Christmas. I went up there and it was just one particular present.
Okay.
She wanted me to guess what it was. I said, I have no idea. I'm trying to peek in it. I'm trying to do all this. But it was a Polaroid camera.
Okay.
And man, I love that camera, man. I thought I was one of them dudes that's shooting for the news. I'm like, and you know, I realized that's when that creative bug really started to grow with me.
Okay.
I mean, I would take shit apart. I would, you know,
Really?
I want to figure out how it worked. I would do all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, my mom introduced me to some things, something that I didn't know that was going to be my future.
Oh, wow. Teen years. Tell me about your teen years.
Teen years, you know, you're trying to find yourself, trying to find who you are. That's when I found baseball.
Okay.
That's when you realized who you are. I was a tall, lanky kid. You know, I was skinny and rail thin and everything.
Tell me about the 9th grade. Where were you in the 9th grade and what was it like being the lowest man on the totem pole at a high school?
Well, I when we moved to Memphis, I was in the middle of my 9th grade.
Okay.
And so I went to Snowden. And, you know, it was too late for baseball, so I had to wait till the summer to play and all that stuff.
Right.
So I didn't have to worry about that. But I took art classes. And I always loved art classes. I took art classes because I always liked to draw and paint and everything. I don't do it that much now, but I always loved to do that stuff. And so that's when a lot of my creative things started coming out, but we were poor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, but
it's a beautiful thing when you don't realize.
You don't realize it until somebody in school points it out.
Yeah, that happened in college for me.
Yeah. Somebody will point it out that don't realize they just barely got enough, a little bit more than we do.
Right.
But Memphis toughened me up because it toughened me up, man. Because you know it's a lot of well-to-do kids going to Snowden, and then when I went to Central. But the cool thing about Central, I was a baseball player. I think I was at the time, me and this other guy were the only sophomores that started.
Wow.
Yeah, I started right.
You had a little clout.
It's not that I had a little clout. I didn't back down from any of the older guys because I ran over this one guy. Okay. And he got so mad at me, and the coach like, stop. He did what he's supposed to do. You know, it was, and then, you know, that's when you start getting that little cockiness about something that you know you're good at.
So Memphis was really valuable in your development and your evolution. Yeah. From a business side, what does Memphis mean to that development on the business side?
On the business side, you know, Memphis is also one of those things where it's really cliquish. You know, I'm sure you found that out. It's really cliquish. And when you're not from Memphis, it takes you a little while to get into certain doors for first thing. So now you really have to be good at your craft. Right. And that's kind of what it was for me. It toughened me up. The cool thing, my earlier partners, they were Memphians. So that helped a lot. Right. You know, Creighton and Isaac, they were Memphians, and that's probably what saved us, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
It does open doors. Yeah. Memphians open doors for Memphians. Yeah. In many cases.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. But we're gonna knock down some doors. Me and you being from outside of Memphis.
Yeah, but we've been here 20 plus years.
We kind of
come on now. You got to go and get it. Hey, go and put the holy water on us and everything. Because you know what everybody say when you meet somebody, what school you go to or what church do you belong to? It's one of those two things.
That's right. That's right. What was your transition like into adulthood? You in Memphis, you out of college?
No, I was still in Arkansas when I got out of college. But here's the thing. When I started transitioning from being a cook at restaurants to working at the TV station, that's when things changed for me.
Okay, hold on. Go back. I want to take you back real quick. What jobs have you held over your lifetime? Just give me just a smattering of
So
jobs.
Memphians will appreciate this.
Okay.
On Union Avenue, where that Popeye's Chicken, it used to be Arby's.
Okay.
I worked there.
Okay, you worked at Arby's.
I worked there for a summer
Okay.
at Arby's, and then we moved to Arkansas.
Okay.
Didn't have a job, and then my first job in college was this place called Western Sizzling.
Okay. Yeah, I remember
And
Western Sizzle.
And I started off as a dishwasher, made my way up to a cook, and then
Okay.
I went to the reserves
Okay.
to help pay for college. Got back from the Army, went back to cooking.
Okay.
And then I bounced around from another restaurant to another restaurant or another restaurant. And then I got the call from KUDZUKIAN in Jonesboro. While I was still in school, I still had two and a half years left in
Right.
school. And Mike Bowman called me and said, hey man, you want to come down and talk to me about a job? I'm like, yeah.
Right.
So I went down there, boom, got hired on the spot. I did.
Then you became part of television.
Then I became part of television.
All right.
And
all right.
that is probably the thing that changed, because I tell people all the time, opportunities are far and few between.
Okay.
Take advantage of the opportunity that you're given, and that's
Right.
what I did.
Right.
I took advantage of every opportunity that was given me.
Okay. All right. So you now a producer, you're in television. What other jobs inside of television or media have you had?
I've only had 2 jobs.
Okay.
And that was one at KIT in Jonesboro. And how that happened, how I moved to Memphis,
Okay.
I learned how to use this editing software called the Avid.
Right.
And so I got a call from WMC TV Channel
Right.
5. And they wanted me to come up and train some of their people on the Avid. So I
Right.
went up there and trained some people on the Avid. The guy, Richard Underwood, I'll never forget it. He said, hey man, I used to work at KIT too. And I said, yeah, I heard. He said, what did they say about me? I said, that you were gonna try to offer me a job. And he said, they're right.
Okay. Okay.
But I didn't end up working for Richard. I ended up working for Creighton Armor.
okay.
Creighton, the one that hired me. But when he hired me, he said, hey man, you had to spend half your day working for Richard, another half working for me.
Okay.
And it was like that. It stayed like that for
Wow.
about a year, I think.
So you took advantage of opportunities. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because you're looking at the final product. You're looking at CEO Fabian Matthews.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always. It was dishwasher Fabian Matthews.
It was
cook Fabian Matthews.
It was mop the floor Fabian Matthews. It
Absolutely.
was people telling Fabian Matthews what to do.
Right.
And to a certain degree, they still do.
Right.
But it's in a different level.
Right, right. I just want to make sure we emphasize that life progression, Now, here's a man that has won many Emmys
3?
and other awards in media.
Yeah.
What is your most proudest accomplishment? What?
In media or life?
Well, first let's go with media, because that's the job you do.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. We just finished this documentary on Ida B. Wells,
Okay,
Chasing Down Storms,
okay,
and it's her life. It's a story about her life in Memphis, Tennessee.
okay.
We don't go to Chicago. We don't go to all other things that she did, but that was a 7-year-long process.
Okay,
And the final product, I think, is great.
really?
And, and I've done a lot of things, Larry, over my career. Producing Definitely Downtown with
Right.
Lee Warren
Right.
for
Right.
for 8 years.
Right.
All the things that me and Howard Robertson did, the Fed Up campaigns.
Right.
We've done a lot of things, won a lot of awards for a lot of work that we've done.
Right.
And all the work I've done for the Civil Rights Museum, which is just my heart, really.
Right.
But doing this piece on Ida B. Wells, and the only reason I say that is because this is something that's going to live on way before me. They'll be showing this, hopefully, 50, 60, 70, 80 years from now.
Wow.
And it has my name on it. It has my son's name on it. It has, shots of the reenactments that we did in my building that I purchased. So it's a lot of things like that, man, that just make you sit back and say, I mean, I know we went to the
God.
Look at God. Ain't God good? You know, and it's
Will it won't?
Yeah. So it's a lot of those things that make you just like, wow, man, this thing has come full circle.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
really has.
Now you got to talk about your life biggest success. What's the life biggest success?
Life biggest success is getting married to a wonderful woman, Cassandra Matthews.
Boy, you getting some points.
Well, I'm trying to, man. Yeah, you know, getting married, something that I probably thought I'd never do.
Right.
And then, you know, and raising a son to work with me, and then having a daughter that wants to be like me. You know?
Wow.
And, you know, my daughter was working with me this summer, man, and she was just she was all hands on. She's very creative.
Mm-hmm.
She loves to draw and all that stuff. And she got that from me and my mom.
Right.
And, you know, that's one of those proud moments.
Legacy.
Man. Yeah.
Legacy.
And then people telling me, man, your son's just like you.
Uh-huh.
Right. And most people, if you're not really close to me, you don't notice my stepson because I never treated him like a stepson.
You haven't.
Never.
You haven't, man.
Never.
I've always admired you and your son's relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, Darian is an amazing young man.
Yes, he is. He is.
I am very proud that I know him. And I'm very honored to know you because that says what kind of person you are to really instill what you have into that young man. So if you could talk to your younger self, if you could go back to that, he's sitting there on a Saturday morning eating a bowl of Fruity Pebbles, watching television, and you come walking in the door and you got a word for that young man sitting there, what would you tell him?
Well, I would definitely tell him that there's going to be some ups and downs,
Okay.
but enjoy the ride.
Okay.
Because the ride that's coming for you is going to be incredible.
Okay.
And then I would tell him, buy Apple, buy Microsoft, and buy some Bitcoin.
Right.
So that you don't have to, in some of those hard times, it's going to be better.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah.
All right. So last thing. A lot of young people are watching you right now from all different walks of life. A lot of young men trying to figure out which way they're going to take their life, trying to figure it out. I want you to look right in that camera.
All right.
And you tell them what you would leave them with, a Fabianism, a Matthewism, however you want to characterize it, but talk to them right now. Let me step out.
I think I would tell them is that, first of all, believe in yourself because people will try to put you down. So if you believe in yourself, you're not going to take it. The other thing is have faith in God, have faith in yourself. And if you're going to get in a relationship with someone that has your back no matter what. Somebody that can lift you up when things are down. And that was one of the things that I appreciate about my wife is that she knew when things were going bad, but she was always there with an encouraging word. And the other thing is this thing I've tell everyone, and I already said today, is take advantage of every opportunity that you get, because you don't know which one of those opportunities is going to put you at a table with other CEOs, at a bank with not the teller, but the vice president and the president, and it's going to put you on a stage receiving an Emmy Award. So take advantage of every situation you have and make the best of it.
Every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. You got a future. Not saying you're a sinner, but you got a future. So listen, my brother, Fabian Matthews, thank you.
Hold on, man. I got something for you, man.
What you got for me?
You know we do the Smoke podcast, man.
Oh, now,
suck it
now. Look at you. Now, I like it when they bring gifts. So the next icon that comes on, you'll be more than happy to bring a gift. Listen, thank you for watching The Journey on the KUDZUKIAN Network. We're going to keep coming. You keep coming. We'll be back next time. Larry Robinson, Fabian Matthews, take care. Thank you to our partner, the Grand Boulé of Sigma Pi Phi Fraternity Delta Chapter. To hear more incredible stories like this, be sure to download the KUDZUKIAN app from the App Store or Google Play, or check out the Journey Memphis podcast on all your major podcast providers. Also, check us out on the KUDZUKIAN Network.